Hello everybody, Gary Hallican here, and I've got something awesome to show you today. If you've followed bootleg toys at all on the internet for the past several years, you've almost certainly seen one of these sets of transforming numbers. There are a bunch of different sets of these. Some of them transform into vehicles, some of them into dinosaurs, all sorts of different things. And there are also sets of transforming letters that you can find and transforming math symbols like multiplication and division symbols and things like that. I unfortunately had never gotten any sets of these before, but I've finally now gotten myself a set of transforming numbers. So this is the set where each number transforms into a military vehicle. And some of them do it a little bit better than others, but I'll show you all of them here in a moment. And then, of course, in addition to transforming into a military vehicle, they all combine together into a giant robot mode. So let's take a look at each one of them individually, and we'll start off with Zero. So Zero is actually one of the best ones, I think. It's going to transform into a Jeep, and it has, I'd say, one of the more elaborate transformations of any of them. A few more things to move around than some of the other ones do. So there we go. There is Zero in Jeep mode. So that is awesome, isn't it? You can't tell at all that it was a number at one point, and it ends up being a pretty good Jeep. It's got some lights. It actually has a steering wheel there and a seat. So pretty awesome. Zero there turned into a Jeep. So next up is number one. Number one is also a really good one. Number one is going to turn into a tank. So there we go. There's number one in tank mode, and the turret can move up and down. The gun, I should say. If you pull the turret forward a little bit, then it can rotate around like that. So pretty nice tank mode. No real treads, of course, just little wheels on the bottom here. But again, you can't really tell that it was a number at all. All right, number two. That one is going to be a helicopter. It has a pretty interesting transformation. There it goes. Okay, so there we go. Number two in helicopter mode. So it's not quite the Airwolf, but it's a pretty nice helicopter. If it wants to stay up here, the feet don't want to stay folded down. There we go. Okay, so number three is one of the best ones. It's got one of the more elaborate transformations, and it ends up looking really cool, but it is a little bit tricky to do it, I think. A little bit tricky to do this transformation. So this one is going to turn into a boat. I think the instructions called it a speedboat. But again, it's a little bit tricky here with the pieces we have to move. See, that piece likes to come off. But it should just snap back on there. And so if you see here, this piece is supposed to plug in right here to this tab, but it doesn't really do it. And I've noticed just since I've got this, the front piece has gotten a little bit floppy on this one. So there we go. There's number 3 as the speedboat. So the boat mode ends up being pretty nice. You got the missiles here, but it's not holding together as well as you might like, even though it is definitely in one that you can't tell at all that it was a number. Okay. Number 4 up next. So number 4 is going to be a plane. And as we open up this piece, you will see the robot head here. We'll fold out the nose cone. So there we go. So there's number 4 in plane mode. So that's not too bad, but you'll see here that they start to get a little bit weaker in their vehicle modes from here on. Though 8 and 9 are pretty good. Okay, so here is number 5. So number 5 is, again, where they start to get a little bit lazier. It's just going to be, I think it's the instructions called an anti-aircraft gun. But it's just sort of a gun on a trailer. So there we go. So there is number 5 in its gun on a trailer mode. Number 6, and it's going to become, it's a bit of a strange one. It's a missile car, I guess, a sort of a truck or car that is going to fire missiles. And the missiles are a little bit tricky to get unclipped here. So there we go. So that's all there is to number 6. So it's a little bit weaker than some of the other ones, I would say. Some sort of missile firing vehicle there. All right, number 7 might be the simplest one. It's going to turn into a missile silo. So there we go. That's it for number 7. It's a missile silo. So number 8 is pretty good. It's going to be another boat. It's more of a battleship type boat. So there we go for that one. This piece unfortunately doesn't really sit flat on there, but it ends up being a pretty good battleship here. Okay, and lastly we've got number 9. Number 9 is also a good one. It's going to be a motorcycle with a sidecar. Let's ignore my phone sounds there. One of these days, I will remember to put it on silent when I'm filming a video. Okay, so there is number 9. It looks a little bit like a Vespa scooter maybe, but I think it is meant to be a motorcycle with a sidecar here. All right, so there's all of them in their vehicle modes. So I'm going to put them all back into number mode, and then we will combine them into robot mode. Okay, so with them all back in number mode, we will start on giant robot mode here. So I'm going to move the camera up a little bit. And we're going to start with 0 and 1 for the feet. And they're going to get kind of put into vehicle mode, just sort of. All right, so basically we're just flipping up the treads and the wheels. And they're going to form the feet. And then number 2 and number 6 will be the legs. So here on 2, we'll flip out this little peg here, if we can. There we go. And then I'll plug in right here. So some of the connections on this robot mode are pretty good, and some of them are not good. So like that one's not bad, but some of them are not good at all. So you're on number 6. I'm going to split the just like that. And then these 2 pegs will plug in right here. So like this connection, not as good as the other foot there. It's pretty tight though. All right, there we've got the legs. Now number 3 will not change at all. And these 2 pegs here will plug into the legs. So there we've got the bottom half. So one problem with this is because this piece getting kind of loose on number 3, once we get the top half attached, it's going to want to slide back there. All right, so I'm going to make the torso and the arms first then, and then combine it on to the top here. So number 4 is going to be the torso, as well as number 5 here. Number 5 is kind of the waist piece. Let me see here. It's going to go this way. Yep. There we go, just like that. So these 2 pegs are what's going to plug in on the top of number 3. We'll make the rest of the torso first before we do that. So number 4. And we'll pull up the head here. If you get a close look at that, it looks very much like a Gundam head with no V-fin, but it's got, you know, the Vulcan cannons and everything else a Gundam head would have. Mine, unfortunately, the nose was smashed or rubbed off somehow there. So the nose is messed up on mine. And of course, there's no color on it at all, just a plain gray robot head. Okay, so we got the torso there. And again, this should plug on right here and right there. But this is not a great connection. So it's okay, but it's not a great connection. All right, next we'll make the arms. So number 8 is going to be the right arm. You put it mostly to boat mode. Just like that. And then fold these down. That's, I guess, a fist of some kind. It's going to plug on to this ball joint right here. So there we go. And you'll notice the arms can only go on one side because number 4 has a ball joint on that side, but it has rectangular peg on this side. So for the other arm, number 9 and number 7, we're going to make the other arm. So we'll fold out this tab here. Make sure I got it facing the right direction. Yep, there we go. And then this is just meant to be some sort of claw, I guess. But that's all we get for a hand. And number 7 will go pretty much exactly back into missile silo mode and just plug on to the side. So that slot right there will go onto this peg that we folded out. There we go. All right, so that's the other arm. So we almost had the torso there. There we go. So we've got the torso. So I will try to attach this. It only attaches with 2 very tiny pegs. And so it's not a good connection really at all. But there it goes. All right, so there is robot mode. So it's not great, as you can tell. It's fun to be able to do it. It's fun that it has a robot mode, but it's really not the best robot mode. There is no articulation other than the right arm on a ball joint. But as you see, if I try to move it at all, the torso is going to want to come off. So the robot mode seems a little bit like an afterthought on this. It's fun that it has it, but the better feature of this set is the vehicle transformations for each one. All right, so that is the military vehicles set of transforming numbers. So let me know in the comments if you have this one, or if you have any other sets of transforming numbers or transforming letters. I was very excited to finally get one of these. It's pretty awesome, especially with the vehicle transformations. Robot mode can use some work, but the vehicles are really cool. So let me know in the comments what you've got and what else you'd like to see, and we'll see you in the next review.